Hello friends and welcome to Fire Emblem Discussion. Today we're going to be taking a look at your comments from the video what DLC classes will get added to Three Houses. If you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to go watch it first. The link is in the description. But for now, let's look at some of your comments. So here we have from Darren Philflet, who says, Holy Kingdom of Fargus is suspiciously missing Griffin Rider despite it having one as its coat of arms. Edelgard needs heavy armored mage class like Baron. Sedith and Flame need a Manakee class. Marianne needs a beast class too. So the two here that I find most intriguing, and a couple of you talked about this too, is right here. Come on. Sedith and Flame need a Manakee class, and Marianne is a beast class. Would be super interesting. I mean, they could totally just use like a crest stone of some kind, or get a story at a story point or part of their paralogs, and have this special unique class for them. And I think that would be really good for Flame, especially because she doesn't really feel, to me, she doesn't change at all throughout the story. Especially, I know that's like, and I know that she's not really supposed to age, I get that. But it would be really cool if she did have this transformation and to really drive the point home, to nail home that she is a Manakee, that she is this like dragon-like figure, and be able to use that power on the field. And really, I just want to make use of the beast and like multi-tile enemies that we see in Three Houses. Like, they're all over the place. We get to fight them all the time. But it'd be really fun to have some on our team to use. Next, I want to look at another comment, and and this is a really popular one. A lot of people had this to say. This comes from Asback NL. Sorry if I say your name wrong. I'm bad at names. It says, Dreadfighter minus the spell attack stuff, but keeping the resistance would be a nice alternative to Mortal Savant as a melee spell slayer. Oh yeah, you want the mage killer class. So I really like this take, because Dreadfighter in Gaiden and Echoes, where it's originally from, doesn't use magic. It uses magic in Awakening, which is where I think most people are familiar with that class, like that instance where they could use magic. But in every other game that they're in, they can't. Right? I personally would love to see the Dreadfighter come back. A sword and axe unit that could be a level up from the hero. It could be the next step for hero. Or I'd even be okay with it being like a sword axe bow unit that is the step up from hero and assassin. It's like the hero and assassin line kind of converge into Dreadfighter. I'd be really interested in that, especially since hero just feels like, as far as master classes go, it feels like hero and assassin, just like there's nowhere to go past the advanced class, which is fine. They do totally well throughout the entire game. But it would be nice to see a continuation into a master class that just isn't there. All right, so this is a good comment here. I mean, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, I think, at first, but it has some really good answers. So it says, bring back Master Knight and make them require an aid everything but armor, flying, and gauntlets. Now, that would be hilarious. It'd be like a super Omega New Game Plus class that I'd be super into, I'm not going to lie. That'd be really cool. But then they give their serious answer from Vopop30, who says, Sage as a master class for infantry male mages, Baron as an armored magic class, Malignite, a flying magic class, and a new infantry class line specializing in lances. Something like Lancer to Halberdier to Spearmaster. Now, my favorite of your suggestions here is Sage. I think that's a unique one that others haven't really brought up. And I think a couple of you did, but this is the one that stuck out to me here. So, as a master class for interesting male mages. And what would that look like? What would a Sage look like? And what I thought of was it would really lean into the hybrid, like white magic and black magic character. So, it would have like heal plus 10, and then it would all, as a class skill, and it would also have like Black Tome Fair as a class skill. And then, I don't know, you could probably throw a third one on there. Like, it would be interesting to throw in like white magic range plus 1 or something like that. Or just some other really cool class skill. I'd actually be interested to hear what you guys would think would be a good third one there. Or I guess you could even just do white Tome Fair as well. Do heal plus 10, white Tome Fair, and black Tome Fair. I think that'd be extremely interesting, and it would be a really good alternative for a lot of male mages. I feel like it'd give Linhardt a good place to settle compared to where you'd put him now. As a situational thing, because you want to leave him in bishop for more than one warp per chapter, but a lot of times you don't need more than one warp per chapter. Maybe you just want him to be a sage, and obviously would have like better base stats, have more magic and whatnot compared to bishop and warlock. This one from Dragonic Buster has a lot of cool ideas as well that I personally want to see, and a couple of these are really common. Malignite. A lot of people have said that they want Malignite. I've personally said that I want Malignite. I think it would be perfect for Annette, right? Like, who wouldn't want Annette to be a wyvern riding magic user? That just makes sense. It makes sense for her relic weapon. It makes sense for her affinity for magic, and it just makes sense with her affinity for axes as well. It just works. It'd be so fun. It'd be so good. Then you just think of Lysithea flying around with her Omega magic stat and just blowing up things all across the map. And that's a kind of a scary prospect. True Blade using sword and brawling is also very interesting. I don't know if that's really true to what it was in Path of Radiance. I mean, not Path of Radiance, in Radiant Dawn. But it doesn't need to be true to that, I guess. Because, it's a purely sword class in Radiant Dawn. But it would be interesting to see a sword and brawling class that would be obviously perfect for Catherine. It'd be an interesting option for Felix. And it would be an interesting option for Byleth as well, honestly. It would be fun to see that. And, you could just have Sword Fair. Just throw on Sword Fair, Fist Fair, and, I don't know, like Vantage or Desperation or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun to play around with. Or you could even have Astra be a class skill as well. That comes along with it. Or I guess more like it would be able to use Astra from the Swordmaster class. That'd be pretty cool. Gold Knight. Now, this is probably my favorite one because I feel like Paladins and just the Cavalier class line kind of gets shafted, similar to like Hero and Assassin, where it really stops. It really stops at Advance. Because if you go into Holy Knight or Dark Knight for whatever reason, you lose movement and you lose, you don't gain strength. You know what I mean? You don't become a better fighter in any way. Really, you become worse in a lot of ways compared to Paladin. So having a Gold Knight, which is riding lance or sword, or I'd be really interested in Gold Knight being riding. You could even have two. You could have Gold Knight and Silver Knight, which is call back to Radiant Dawn again, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. You could have Gold Knight, which is riding lance and axe, and then like Silver Knight could be riding lance and sword, and that would be really, really cool. I would be really into that, and I'd actually be willing to step into the Cavalier class line again. Whereas in my past few playthroughs, I just don't even use it anymore because flyers are just so much better, and there's no real good like master class. Wyvern Lord is just way better than Paladin in like every way. It's ridiculous. And now the next one's kind of interesting. Ballistician, which would be bow and heavy armor, which we had a Ballistician class in Fates as DLC that was interesting and had some. You could shoot off like a turret instead of attacking and deal like area of effect damage, which is cool. But my mind honestly goes to Tearing Saga, the wood shooter class, which was essentially like a tank that used bow and arrows. So it had like no move. Its move was super low, and it did use the worst weapon in the game in Tearing Saga. But I think it could be interesting in Three Houses because bows are potentially, they're up there for the best physical weapon type. They're really, really good. And because perpetual 1-2 range, and then also just even more range and stuff. And then the heavy armor, you could have like, weight -5, and you could use like a brave bow and get some real good work in. It'd be really interesting. And you could even have them like stack, You can have, I know you can have like weight -3 and weight -5 stack. I could do weight -5 and weight -5 stack as a class and a personal skill. Can someone confirm that for me in the comments? That'd be nice. But it'd be really interesting to have a tanky archer who also has like a turret on top that they can use whenever they want. That would be really interesting to me. Now this is a good comment from Felipe19991, who brings up a good point that a lot of you brought up, that you want a gender counterpart for the gender exclusive classes in Fire Emblem Three Houses. And I understand that, and it'd be nice if they just like got rid of the gender lock. I could see that being a free update. That'd actually be really cool, being a free update to make it so gender lock classes are no longer gender locked on like New Game Plus or even just make it a normal thing in general would be nice. I personally don't want to see these DLC classes, I don't want to say wasted, but I kind of mean wasted on these on a gender counterpart, right? I want like wholly new classes personally. Felipe does bring up a few that are interesting. A master class for paladin and armor units, so give us like Baron or Marshall from Radiant Dawn would be interesting. All sorts of things like that. Now, last thing I want to talk about comes from Jab to Zombie, who has their number one desire up here, but which they talk about Magic Flyer, which is another common one that a lot of you talked about. But I want to talk about this one. It says a side mission for Claude, Dimitri, and Edelgard to get magic casting into their signature classes. That would be super nice for Edelgard in particular, for her to be able to use magic in her personal class. And I personally would love to see it. But Felipe, actually, who we just finished talking about the comment, said make a ring where characters can use magic in non-magic classes. Whoa. I don't know if we want that. That'd be really overpowered. It'd be interesting for just Edelgard or just Dimitri or just Claude, though. Make it like a family heirloom or something that allows them to do that. Especially Edelgard, who has access to dark magic. You know, one of the few characters that has access to natural dark magic. It'd be really fun to have her be able to use that in her Emperor classes and her personal classes. Be a lot of fun. Now, let's get into what I expect to happen. And then I'll also share some of my thoughts on what I hope happens. I think we're going to get at least one like somewhat fan servicey class. One that doesn't necessarily fit Three Houses, but people will just kind of enjoy having. And then I think we'll get a few other ones that fill gaps that are missing in the game. And that are also just really powerful. Because you want to feel, when you pay for something for a video game, you want it to feel powerful, right? I mean, if you look at especially the Fates classes, any of those, if you used any of those, you could like instant promote your unit at like level 1 with any of the promotion items from Fates, and they would instantly become usable to really good. Excluding maybe like the Ballistician class. That one was just average at best. But, you know, Dreadfighter instantly amazing, especially because they get rank. You get a rank in Hidden Weapons, which is just amazing in Fates. But regardless, I think we're going to see similar things to that. They're going to have really good base stats. I think they're going to be just really cool. They're going to be fun to look at and fun to use. And they're going to have some like really cool skills, right? So thinking about that, I think for a kind of a fan servicey kind of thing that I think a lot of people want is maid/butler. I think it would count as one class, but it would be the name would change depending on the gender you are. You'd be a maid if you're a male. I mean, maid if you're a female. Butler if you're a male. Similar to Fates. And I think it would have a similar style to the outfit in Fates. And I think a lot of people would be into that. It would just be, I don't know, probably just a white, it'd be a magic user with like heal plus 10, maybe white tome fair, and then also have access to, I don't know, you could do something funny like axes, or actually that'd fill a gap too. Magic and axes, do like axes. I could see that. That'd be pretty cool. And that would also give a class for like Annette to go into if you wanted her to be able to use axes and magic effectively. Would be an interesting idea. Next, I think we are going to see Dreadfighter again. That has been like the common thread through Awakening and Fates. And then of course we had Dreadfighter naturally in Echoes. I think Dreadfighter will make a return. It's just a really cool class. It can be I would love to see it be a hero and assassin hybrid. I don't know if we're going to see that, but it would be really, really cool. It'd give them a complete class line, and it would give an interesting, mix of sword, axe, and bow for a master class. And you'd probably just have to have sword, axe, and sword, axe, and bow fair. If you want to be a little more creative with the class, you could do sword fair, vantage, and like wrath. Vantage wrath would be a really cool combo for that. Or just do like sword fair, axe fair, and vantage. Something along those lines. Or maybe you would do sword fair, bow fair, and vantage. Something along those lines. It'd be really interesting and fun to mess around with and play with. That'd be a really fun one. So Maid Butler, Dreadfighter. I think they're going to add a new Paladin class. Whether it be something like the Gold Knight or Silver Knight from Radiant Dawn. Doesn't really matter. Just something to continue the Paladin class line that needs an A rank in riding, A rank in lances, and then adds a weapon in there, so that you don't. And adds another weapon in there like axes or swords, something to make it a little harder to achieve, but also possible. I'd be really into that, and it would honestly make the Cavalier / Paladin class line a little more interesting to me. It'd be a lot of fun to mess around with. And it would just have, Canto, probably Lance Fair, and then it could probably have the other Fair skill of the other weapon. So if it's like sword, you could have Sword Fair or Axe Fair, depending on which route you go with that. So I think we'll get another Cavalier class in the Master class line that actually makes sense for physical units. And finally, I think it is inevitable. I think we're going to get a Magic Flyer. Magic Flyer has been, I think, the most requested, the most wanted class in the game. I think that's what everyone that I've talked to and that I've seen written on the internet, it's what everyone wants. So I think we're going to get Dark Falcon or Dark Flyer from Awakening. I think it'll specialize in, you'll need like A Reason, A Flying, and C Lances to unlock it. You'll have Black Tome Fair, you'll have Canto, and then some other skill. I'm not sure, maybe Relief or something like along those lines. And I think once you master it, you'll learn like Gale Force, of course, or something like that. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. That's what I think is actually going to happen. And again, thank you to everyone who did comment on yesterday's video. I promise I read every single comment, every single last one of them. Every last one of them. And I do appreciate all the thoughts and feedback you guys give. Sorry I can't read everybody's comments on here. It would just take a little too long, a little more time than I have. But I appreciate it. I really do. And if you want to help support the channel, feel free to share this video or maybe one of your favorite videos of mine through social media or just with a friend or something. Every bit of exposure helps the channel grow and allows us to keep giving you more of the content that you want to see. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can go check out the Patreon page. There are a few tiers and a few tier rewards you can get your hands on, but more than anything, I just really appreciate the support. It allows me to be able to do this more frequently and to make better content for you guys. So please, if you can, share videos or if you are comfortable and able, help finance the channel. Really appreciate it. It really is. And I really just thank you guys for hanging out and sticking to the end of the video especially. And make sure to like and subscribe for more Fire Emblem discussion if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys next time.